Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the League of Legends Varsity League, powered by Lenovo, Light the Sky. But of course, before we get into the game, we'll be introducing ourselves as your casters for today. I'm Mark, the Cat, the service fam. With me is Vulcan.
So it's a very great Sunday right now for the LVL, entering, I would say, one of the points in LVL, one of any leagues that we determine who is the strongest team so far. But let's get on to the schedule to see what's going to be coming up next. I think we have some announcements to make regarding our first game.
Yeah, actually, as far as, unfortunately, we'll actually be heading into the second game for our first match for today between FUIT and the iAcademy Game Changers. So as you can see reflected in our schedule right now, iAcademy was awarded one win. Unfortunately, FIT couldn't play their first game earlier, so we'll be heading straight into the second game. Later on, we'll be having TUP versus MCL. And of course, to cap off the day, it's going to be UPD versus UST.
One of a highlight game, I would say, for the last match. But regarding IAC and FIT, this is the League of Legends Varsity League.
Right.
We promote strict rules, and we abide by it, and we follow it. And because of this, FIT will be defaulting their first game. And now, let's move on to game 2. Because at this stage of the LBL, is it wise to give away just the point that easily?
Well, you know what? Since we're kind of already midway through the group stage for the LVL, it's not really something you want to give away, especially for both FUIT and iAcademy, wherein if they want to make it to the playoffs, they have to reap every single game that they can. So just one defeat really deters them so hard from making that qualification into the top 3.
And to have a short recap of the format, I think I recall that it would be the top 3 teams.
Yes.
Because we only have 7 teams in the LBL as of now, so only the top 3 will be moving on to the playoff stage for a gauntlet format, if I'm not mistaken.
True.
So let's get straight. I would be excited to see the standings, to see who would be, you know, the candidates moving on to the playoff stage.
Definitely.
So let's look at the standings so far. Retaliate, Teletigers, and Monstrumvel Prodigium will be at the top 3 as of now, whereas UPD, Oblation Esports, have yet to complete their 2 more games, because right now we see 4-2, 5-1, TUP and AMA did complete their 6 games. So I would say that for the Teletigers, the Oblation Esports, they do have solid chances to make it to the playoff stage.
True. And you know what I really like about this is that if you're going to look at the top 3, I mean, TUP and Teletigers from UST, I think it's pretty much established that people have high expectations of them. But the clear standout right now that's currently sitting at the top 3, AMA University Retaliate, one of the rookies, having a beautiful performance thus far within the past few weeks. And yeah, definitely really nice to see that it's not really just about the veterans that have been in the collegiate league for so long. Nakikita rin natin na yung mga bagong rookies natin may laban din. And I think not just for LVL, but even across different industries for League of Legends right now locally. Ang dami kong nakikita ng mga bagong players na nagsistand out.
Not to mention for TUP, they always have been a strong name.
Oh yeah.
You always remember it. And also for AMA, I think it's impressive that they made it this far. I mean, not just the standings, but also the progression they did. But also for Academy, this is their first time joining League Varsity League ever. I have not seen a team in the LCL, so this will be their first debut to the environment. Let's see how the players will behave once we enter our game between the Game Changers and the Tamaraos.
Yeah, really definitely something to look forward to. I mean, unfortunately, FUIT and Academy Game Changers, they haven't had the best start in the LVL, but then again, this would be a great opportunity. Let's go in and review the lineups for, of course, FUIT first off. In the top lane, it's going to be Ashera. In the jungle, we have Mint. In the mid lane, we have Set. And of course, for our bot lane duo, it's going to be Neil on AD carry and D for support with our coach, Eman Kirevu Malilay.
So moving on to the next team here, this is the going to be the iAcademy Game Changers. It will be Sawyer top lane, Hio jungle, Impor for the mid lane, Buggy Van for the ADC, Sinigang for the support, and Specs for their coach, Les Ronquillo as their coach. So we have our player set up. We know who's going to be playing on, but now let's get on to the drafting phase.
Yes, as we head into the drafting phase right now, first man being thrown out by FITI Tamros. Looks like the Galli are going to be taken off the board from my academy. Meanwhile, Gangplank as well going to be denied from Ashera. So very solid bans that we're seeing within the first rotation thus far.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be more of a preseason is still upon us, so we have yet to see proper balance changes, but we did see changes towards the precision and not to mention the domination. But let's see how this will affect the picks right as of now for IAC entering this game. On the red side, they will be batting out the Gangplank, the Azir. One of the high priors for as of now, but for the Lissandra to be removed. Oh, heavy focus on to Z and import.
Yeah, looks like we are going to be seeing those heavy focuses. A lot of mid lane bans for both sides, with the exception of the... Well, Galio technically can still be sent out mid. Gangplank, if ever you want to cheese that to mid as well. So, yeah, let's go ahead and see what both Set and Import will be bringing to the table. We have seen that Lissandra dished out here in the LVL. Used too much efficiency, so I'd say overall, the bans aren't as surprising as I would have expected. Meanwhile, it looks like FIT, of course, going to be going for the Ornn. So, Ornn, man, oh man, that Ornn across the board, whether it be promotionals, LVL, LCL, clearly a dominant force, especially in the 5v5s.
It's also the fact that during the preseason, lots of resistances have been stripped out of the champions, so the Ornn pickup is actually wise. But as of now, I think Ornn is one of the safer picks in the preseason. Not one of the strongest, but I would say safer because the fact that even if the Ornn does fall behind, he cannot fall behind in terms of usefulness and effectiveness in a team fight. So for IAC, they are playing a gamble here, a huge gamble when it comes to the Camille. Could this be a Camille jungle or top? We did see Camille jungle once, but for IAC, they will be removing the Sejuani's engage with the Janna.
Interesting, both sides. We are yet to see a jungler and a... Oh wait, no. For FIT's case, it's actually mid and AD carry. So we're still waiting for the carry champions from FIT. Meanwhile, it looks like iAcademy will be choosing this Misfortune for themselves. I like what I'm seeing from iAcademy thus far. There's a lot of lockdown potential where you can really maximize the Misfortune ult, get him trapped in a Cataclysm, complement that with a Hextech Ultimatum from Camille, and you have quite the party working for you in team fights.
And also for FIT, oh, that's pretty curious because I don't know how the Taric would be faring against this Janna because you have to get close, but let's see once we load to the rift for the matchup in the top lane. So for iAcademy, they will be going for the Misfortune. Misfortune, that's an ADC. How do you feel about it?
Wow. Well, if you're going to look at the overall compositions, I like both sides, to be honest. If you're going to look at FIT, very straightforward. They have a great front line in the form of the Ornn, in the form of the Sejuani, even the Taric. And it's very clear that they don't want any hands to get on that Twitch, onto Neil at all. Meanwhile, for iAcademy, they actually have the tools to do so in the form of the Camille as well as the Jarvan the Fort. Like I mentioned, these are great divers with the Hextech Ultimatum, and the Cataclysm could get a lot of the members of FIT stranded. And along with Import as well, could complement that with the Dark Binding along with the Ultimate, and just makes for a great party for Buggy Van as well. Whether or not, I'm interested in seeing the overall damage output if they could transition well into the mid to late game. But overall, we have quite the fight ahead between both teams.
Especially, yeah, I would have to agree with you on that, but it's actually smart that iAcademy Game Changers, they picked the Janna. Otherwise, if FIT picked the Janna, then I think Game Changers would be in a very tough spot. Yeah. And that's actually smart. So, overall, I think we are done with our drafting. Let's move on to the rift pretty much soon because this is going to be Game 2. Note that FIT, they will be defaulting the first game, giving 1 point to the Game Changers. So, standings right now is 1 point for IAC, whereas for FIT would be 0.
If I'm not mistaken, this is much more crucial for iAcademy because if I'm not mistaken, by computation, they'd have to win almost all their succeeding games in order to try to qualify for playoffs. It will also technically depend on how the results of the next few weeks come for the other top 3 teams. But yeah, I mean, this is definitely much more crucial for them. Tamaros, it's a little bit more trickier for them. I mean, even with a succession in wins, I'm not sure just how much of a chance they have in making top 3. They could potentially scratch the 3rd spot, but it's tricky because both sides, they don't want to lose this game for sure because every single win counts for both sides. I mean, if you're going to compare it to TUP, Teletigers, AMA, they have a little bit more leeway. Pero for FIT and iAcademy, hindi siya masyadong luxury anymore.
And as for the LVL, I like the fact that the LVL is following a format very similar to one of our country's prestigious league, the PGS. So, top 4 in the PGS would make it to the playoff stages. As for LVL, we only have 7 teams, sadly. So, when you're talking about a format as very, very different
Right.
than the LCL, we have the conference series. Now, for the recently changed format, the interconference has been removed. And when you're talking about LVL, is this actually the same level of mentality that the players would have?
Well, I think as far as mentality, it's what you'd have to expect, just because the nature of the LVL. Kung makikita nyo nga naman, may coaches, they have full support from their respective administrations. So I think it's the players realize that it's not just about representing themselves. It's not just about showing how strong they are. There's also a degree of responsibility na dinadala nila yung pangalan nila ng school nila. So, andun yung factor na, oo, kailangan natin ipakita na malakas kami as representative ng school namin. Pero andun yung factor na syempre, kailangan ipakita na responsibility
and commitment also towards practice. So, let us see in this game 2, FEU in IT versus Game Changers I Academy. I want to see how these students, these teams, will be representing their schools in the LVL. This is one of a crucial game, I would say, midway to our LVL progress, but let's get straight to it.
Speaking of LVL, it's interesting to note that just recently we've had a number of collegiate talent make it into the PGS as of our recent promotionals. So we've actually had Janine from TIP now qualifying as first seed pa. So straight into the PGS through Varsity X-Rage Esports. And yeah, I think it's definitely a great showing na collegiate players, they could use this as a stepping stone to eventually make it into pro. And sa nakikita ko sa LVL, ang daming may potential. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe after a split or two, yung mga nakikita nating players dito sa LVL eventually ma-pick up ng PGS team. Or who knows, baka i-pursue nila through Piltover's Finest. It all depends on them, what they want to make out of their career as collegiate players right now.
And when you're talking about, I would say, how the players can grow in this environment in the LVL, I think they're pretty fortunate. I mean, they're pretty lucky that they get the support. They have a lot of resources to work with. And this is a good exposure to them, to players out there who, rather the team owners, the scout players perhaps. I mean, you did say that some of the players like Janine did make it towards Varsity X-Rage Esports.
Yes.
The first seed in Piltovers, making it to the 8th seed for the PGS. So, but let's see, will FIT prove themselves here against the Game Changers, because they're sitting at they had a good start last week, last LVL. I don't know why they would just give a point like that.
I agree. And overall, if I had to choose a team that I feel has a better composition, I would actually peg it on I Academy, just because it's a little bit more well-rounded for me. And if you're going to look at FIT, it's very straightforward. There's very clear frontliners who should be going in. They have the Oren, they have the Sejuani, they have the Tarek as well for additional support. But a lot of that could potentially be denied by terrain through Cataclysm, as well as that full-on disengage from the Janna. So yeah, I really like I Academy's overall draft. But then again, you can't discount FIT either, because if I Academy is not fast enough to respond to any initiates that FIT does, if everything's do go equal, then we'll just have to see. Meanwhile, we do have a class.
When they spawn in the mid lane, but we also see Hio in the brush side waiting. So either whoever really commits to this gang will be on the losing end. So for FIT, they will be backing off. As for the bot lane, Neil's very low. First blood at stake here. So D is there for the protection. But know that the Jarvan was spotted in the mid lane. So FIT, they have to play it safe.
Definitely. And I feel like for FIT, they have to play it a little bit more better within the earlier phases of the game, because I feel like for FIT, if they fall behind, then it doesn't matter how tanky their champions are if they're just gonna get shred down by all this damage coming up across the board from I Academy. I mean, Camille deals damage. Hio, depending on what build he goes for with this Jarvan, might be going a little bit more tankier considering the damage across the board for I Academy. Import as well deals quite the damage on this Morgan. And Buggy Van, as we've said, is basically going to be shooting his ultimate from the back line with all three members of I Academy from top to mid frontlining for him in a pretty great manner.
And when you're talking about the misfortune being the main damage here, if Buggy Van does pick up the Black Cleaver, that would be a huge armor shred towards the tank. So this enables maybe the Camille, the Jarvan to go in and potentially take down some targets. But for FIT, we're talking about this Twitch and the Ornn. They do have a good combo, but for this Twitch to actually scale, he is very farm dependent. But let's see how FIT will be playing their laning phase, because when I see a Twitch, it's rather a huge gamble because he is very dependent in farm.
I agree with you there. And that's the tricky part. If ever, that's what I've been saying about FIT na kung mag-fall behind sila, sobrang magko-collapse yung composition nila. Sure, kaya nilang bumawi sa fights, but it would be a bit more of a situation wherein they have to play their fights to the T, wherein they have less room for error, because if they don't get that full lockdown from the Ornn and the Sejuani when they're in a position na behind sila, then it would be trickier. And even yung mga carries, like let's say maging okay yung Ornn and Sejuani, if Seth as well as Neil are in a position where they're behind, then the reliable damage that FIT would have in this composition would be quite lacking. Unlike iAcademy, now across the board, they have pretty consistent damage.
Consistent damage, I don't think they have that of a consistent damage compared to FIT, because we're talking about Twitch. And for IAC, we are seeing a Camille. I would say constant damage, but for the Jarvan and Misfortune, they are kind of burst champions, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I guess you could say that. And overall, though, we'll just have to see, because so far, if you're gonna look at things across the board,
Boogeyman burning his flash, ignites onto D. He gets taken down by the Janna. Teleport incoming. Ashir is here. Oh, it would be the LeBlanc instead. Say will be Zed will be making his way in, but the poison will be enough for the kill. Yes, it is. Zed gets the kill. Teleport incoming. 2 teleports. Sawyer and Ashira make its entrance towards the bot lane, but there's nothing to work with here, but the Forge God will secure City Gang. Sawyer's very low. Ashira just missed the searing charge because Sawyer just flashed away, but there is the flash in for the double kill.
Yowts, that is ultimately going to end in a 3-for-3 equal, but I would say that, yeah, it's pretty almost equal, but go ahead and see in the mid lane.
Oh god, I don't know what happened there for mid though. That was a huge lockdown coming from the Dark Bind Morgana plus the Jarvan's knockup.
Oh man, let's go ahead and review the distribution between kills though. If you're going to look at it, most of the kills that FIT reaped did go to Ashera, now sitting at a 2-0 on the Ornn. Meanwhile, iAcademy, not the best scenario that 2 of the kills went to the Janna. But then again, if you're going to compare the 80 carries, Neil has quite the climb ahead of him, because gaya nga ng sinabi natin kanina, if ever, like you said, a lot of damage coming in from this Twitch, pero pag behind siya, if behind siya sa items and isn't able to follow up on the full initiate from FIT, then that's the tricky part right there. And if you're going to compare the CS 24 to 53, sobrang laki ng difference between ng Twitch and Misfortune.
Not just the CS, but also the gold, because when you're talking about 0-1-3, they're both 0-1-3, but know that the first blood went to GC side. So for iTimerus to actually make this thing work, they have to rely more on this Twitch. There's the control ward place. They don't know who's behind that brush. Mid makes his entrance, but to have the Glacial Prison, misses, gets the slow to Buggy Van. He gets his full channel slow, but there will be no follow-up here. Instead, Game Changers will be going in onto FIT instead. Knockup will not connect. There's the heal from the Taric. Neil will be safe for now, but for Mint to overcommit there was a huge mistake.
Oh my goodness. Meanwhile, FIT, they got lucky right there.
They got really
Buti
lucky.
na lang hindi pa level 6 iyo, because if he had access to Cataclysm, that would have probably been a total of 2 deaths from FIT. So, buti lang. Although, then again, iAcademy definitely on the offensive right now. A lot of low, not necessarily low health bars, but everybody's not really in the best position right now to fight sa side ng FIT. I mean, Neil has pretty low mana. And across the board, Mint is already half his health. D, a little bit of sustain there, but then again, not really up in mana either. Ooh, Set though.
Getting a 2-man gun in the top lane, but for Game Changers, bot lane, teleport is going to come through. Here comes Import. That would be D. Ganked by 4 members. Mint, I don't think he's going to make it out alive. Who will the kill go to? It'll be Mint getting the full channel of Morgana's ult, but it'll be City Gang again taking away the kill. I think they were trying to give it to Buggy Van, but in terms of trade-offs, it'll be the Game Changers getting the first turret and the first blood.
Nice juggling act by iAcademy right there. Able to secure first turret. And I think overall, they definitely came off a little bit better. They got 2 deaths. FIT got 1 towards top side. Not to mention the fact that they were able to take first turret, so there's definitely a lot more value to that. Still though, board is still equal. Academy looks like they're going to be going for a Dragon as well as a bonus. That cherry on top to a great series of events that transpired earlier. So yeah, I'd say Academy definitely a lot more value. Let's see if they could start picking up the pace.
So let's have a short recap, Arctic, because a lot of things going on. The top lane got ganked by 2 members. But when it comes to trades, I think for Game Changers, they had the most out of all of it because they got the Ocean Drake, they got the first turret. Not to mention, they also got the first blood in the early phase of the game, which means FIT's Twitch, what's happening to it? It's getting a bit behind. Once it starts getting behind, you know that FIT is in a bad spot. And you're seeing this misfortune, getting the Dusk Blade immediately. That is going to be a lot of pain for FIT to deal with.
Yeah, and if you're gonna think about it, kahit ang daming kills na napunta doon sa Janna, 3-1 right now. Actually, the highest in terms of kills across the board. When you'd be hoping that maybe it would be the Morgana, could be the Misfortune sana. But still, doesn't necessarily deter them though. Like you mentioned, Duskblade of Drakthar, built up by Buggy Van. That's going to be pretty painful, my friend.
I think he's going for the Yomu's Ghostblade next, but I think it's okay for Sinigang to get 3 kills because look at him. He's going to be more sustaining. He'll have more health. He has the Sightstone, the Equinox. He has the Equinox right now, so for Game Changers, I think it was somehow a good trade because when bad things happen in life, Arctic, you gotta make most of it. And they are using it. They are getting the Equinox early to the Janna. And when you're getting that Equinox very early, you get that early site pressure, which I don't normally do. And I think I've lost a lot of games because of that.
Life advice right there from Vulcan, my friends. Better learn from that, but still, let's go ahead and say it looks like FIT is going to try to match the shove up towards the top side coming in from iAcademy. Pero still, if you're going to look at the overall value, I would still peg it on iAcademy. Oh, they'd be able to trade a turret, but look at what they're missing off on as a result. They're going to be giving up Rift Herald to iAcademy. Not to mention that after getting that Rift Herald, they could transition to eventually shove up top side. So still, I like the proactivity from FIT though. At least, andun yung factor na hindi nila pinapabayaan na hindi siya maging trade kahit mas lamang pa rin yung iAcademy sa mga trades na yun. It's better than nothing, that's for sure.
When you need to take anything you can. I mean, even the crumbs on the floor, they have to pick it up and potentially try and catch up to the lead that IAC built. Because for FIT, they have this Twitch, just getting the pickaxe and the dagger. Potentially may go for the Yomas, but right now, Ashira calls the Forge God to clear out the incoming wave. He does not want to get dove under his turret. So that'll be more of a warning sign for the Game Changers. They will be rotating back to the mid lane. So let's see how things will play out for FIT.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Spray and pray for Neil, but he needs more damage. He's really lacking that extra pow. But right now, look at the Monsoon for the disengage, flinging away Z. So that will be Game Changers again, using their composition to their advantage.
And that's what I'm talking about right there. That's how crucial having this Janna is for iAcademy. If ever things go awry, it's just that one Monsoon which could disengage things and set things up and reset things for iAcademy. And in that case, that made for a great escape for Buggy Van. Wasn't successfully assassinated by Set right there. Meanwhile, though, if you're going to look at the gold, still only playing within less than 1,000. So it's still pretty much anybody's game. It's just that from what I've been seeing here thus far within the first few minutes, I'd say iAcademy has been getting a lot more value out of their rotations, out of what they've been managing to trade thus far. And I think that's what we're seeing in terms of the goal difference translating slightly in favor of iAcademy. But still, there is that potential wherein if one fight goes wrong for iAcademy, it could easily sway things for FIT. Nobody is safe just yet.
And also the fact that when you're talking about this gold lead for Game Changers, it's not that definitive. And also, for FIT, they still have a lot of room to come back or bounce back here in this game. But when you're looking at how the Tyrant went for the redemption, they don't have that vision control just yet. They'll be winning it just for now, but Vision is a team effort, there's a team game here.
Definitely.
So let's see how the next Drake is Infernal. Let's see how these teams will play around the Drake.
Yes, Inferno definitely something that both sides would definitely want, and of course, on the opposite side, on the flip side, definitely something that they don't want to give to their enemy either. Looks like iAcademy starting to prep, is able to get first dibs as far as establishing control over this dragon. Meanwhile, take note, teleports are up for both top laners, so if ever a fight does break out, we could be seeing a full-on 5v5. But let's go ahead and see, though. Looks like both sides just kind of juggling here, not wanting to force the dragon just yet.
But for Buggyfan, he does not have his summoners up. But for FIT, all summoners are up for these players. So when they want to go big or want to go hard, they can, but they don't have the damage just yet. The pickaxe was there. Immediately, this Twitch will be getting the Runan's Hurricane. One of our rush that we normally see on Twitches, but for the pickaxe to help with the extra damage, he needs more. He needs to get at least the... I think they take the Blade of the Ruined King.
Right.
Is that correct, Arte?
For Twitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe Twitch is definitely still viable for Twitch, but then again, looks like things are going pretty interesting with this. Still a balancing act. Oh, Rift Herald, though. That's actually a great distraction.
One of the greatest use of a Rift Herald is to use it as a distraction. And you're not the first priority. So, let's see how Game Changers will be going for. Just leaving the Rift Herald, and FIT, they're not thinking on the Rift Herald just yet. Instead, they're ignoring it. Goes for Infernal. Let's see, a steal perhaps from FIT. They pull the Drake here. There comes the steal, gets denied by the Game Changer. Here comes the dazzle from the skies. No invulnerable just yet, but Neil gets the kill onto Import. Next would be Hio. Mint gets the kill instead. So, let's say, Game Changers, they took away the Infernal, but cost them 2 lives. So that's going to be more gold for Neil. They can bounce back here, but right now it looks like Senegal gets taken down by C.
Yeah, it's a cost and effect right there for iAcademy.
3 members.
Exactly, and let's go ahead and check out why. FIT definitely had a lot more confidence in that because they knew that teleport was down for Sawyer, so they had the numbers advantage working for them. And overall, that's what I'm talking about right there. iAcademy, sure, they had a great start. They did get those smaller, bigger advantages within the trades earlier on, but then again, it takes that one fight that could sway things into FIT's favor. Still, though, it's still very even terrain, fair play for both sides. It just comes down to execution within these whole 5v fights. I would have liked to see how the results would have varied if ever Sawyer was in that fight, but yeah, it was definitely a little bit of a unfortunate circumstance.
I think they were just overcommitting, and to the fact that, yes, they took the Inferno, but you have to respect the lockdown from the Sejuani and the Ornn. Not to mention, when you're seeing D with the Taric, you don't want to go in for a full commitment. You just want to bait out his ult, walk around and kite it out, and just waste that opportunity that FIT did. Because the scenario for FIT is that they want to protect this Twitch deal. He got an easy kill in the Infernal. So, with that said, almost 18 minutes into the game, kill scores 7-6. FIT bouncing back just a bit. Gold lead is in their favor, but the Infernal went to the Game Changers.
This is going to be tricky here for iAcademy. It hopefully doesn't come to a point where their kill distribution doesn't bite them. But ooh, Zeth though.
Zeth rather is doing a lot of aggressive plays, and I think, oh, look at that. He just bounced back in to the brush side for Buggyfan. The Glacier Prisoner will miss. There's Monsoon for the heal. There's the attempt cancel from Neil, but it'll be failing. Sawyer's here, gets the kill, gets the lockdown for that double kill.
Yeah, it looks like this might be more casualties though.
Can he get away though? That would be the Camille with a huge range, going for the slow. And there's the blast one. Let's see, Ashira. He will not be getting away just yet.
Well, only blasts his way back in, and down he goes. iAcademy.
4 members gets wiped out from that commitment from FIT.
And again, it just ultimately comes down to who manages to pull the trigger faster and who has better ammo going into the fight upon pulling that trigger. Definitely worked out in iAcademy, as Shera was a little bit too late for that fight. Let's go ahead and see what happened in the replay. So if you noticed, if you think about it, you'd think that FIT has a great start here because Neil is just able to 3-hit, but then again, things get really tricky for them real fast because the numbers definitely weren't in their favor, and it was just a full clash because iAcademy was able to get the rest of FIT to a substantial amount of their health off of them, and it was just one takeoff out of the other, and Ashera being late to the party wasn't exactly the best way to go there.
I think they weren't ready and they just forced that clash because they knew that they had a small lead advantage, but that's gone because right now 4-2 on Sawyer. This Camille finishing up the Trinity Force will be going for more engages, especially on the Twitch.
And if you're gonna think about it, like across the board, if you notice during the earlier start of that replay, Mint, Set, as well as Neil were making their way still towards iAcademy, even though the numbers technically weren't in their favor. Sure, Neil did have the benefit of having longer range through the ultimate, but what comes after that? If you look at the mana bars across the board for most FIT members, they didn't really have much to work with left. So it was just a great counter coming in from iAcademy after that. After FIT lost out on most of their arsenal, especially considering na nasa scenario sila na outnumbered pa sila.
I think they should have waited for the Misfortune's ult, then Ashira can just put easy cancel. So whoever goes for the earlier, what's the word? Early, it's not them pulling the trigger too fast. It's just being them impatient. Yes, impatient.
Yes.
As when they're going for clashes because they have to wait. They have to be on the counter side. But right now, Neil in the bottom lane side, clearing out the wave, uses that ultimate. So that's what I was telling you about. I mean, patience. So Neil wanted to clear waves as fast as he can. He has the Rune and Hurricane. Man, I don't know why he went to use the ult. So knowing this, Game Changers go for the Baron.
Indeed.
They know that the ultimates are down.
Ultimates are down and across the board, FIT kind of far.
Well, Orange ultimate is rather short. It's the Righteous Glory proc, but only 2 members will be responding as Shira immediately denies Hio's Cataclysm. Knocks up to the air. That will be the bullet time doing the hurt. But where are the other members of FIT? Not yet in the scene just yet, but still, Zeth is there. Gets the kill onto Buggy Van. Now 2 members are gone. So Game Changers, Baron start is actually a bad call, but note that Sawyer had the teleport, but instead he just hey, I'll just push the lane instead.
Now just gonna casually shove up the lane towards bot side. No harm, no harm, and still FIT will get an outer mid turret out of this. But then again, we are transitioning towards this mid game. Definitely a lot more value coming in from iAcademy. Looks like Set will try to deal with Sawyer.
Sawyer is getting so much CC down on this LeBlanc, getting a slow from the Gunblade. So this will be oops. Tries to dodge it. Tries to dodge it with the Hextech Ultimate, but he will be making it away with the Battle Sweep.
Yep, just casually making his way out of there. And mission accomplished. I mean, was able to get a shove in towards bot side. I'd definitely say there's a lot more value out of getting inner turrets at this point. And overall, still though, anybody's game, goal difference is playing at a 800 of a difference. Not really substantial at all. So, but then again, I would say that if you look at that earlier fight towards Baron, that was a lot of focus on to taking down such a tanky target like Ashera. And especially since Set was just kind of coming in from the backlines. Oh no!
Oh, look at the Dark Bind setting up the kill for a Buggy Van. That's how the Game Changers are really testing the range and the clash potential of FIT, because when you get the Dark Bind on you, you're not gonna escape. That's gonna be an easy kill for Buggy Van with the bullet time. But right now, again, the Dark Bind connects onto Situani. Tries to get away. Widow Arctic Assault there. Will be no escape when Buggy Van is there. Killing spree is on to the Game Changer side. This will be a kill score 9-14. Now the goalie is going slowly, just slowly but surely, going towards the Game Changer side. But with that being said, the jungler is down. This may signal the Baron.
I love the overall collaboration coming in from iAcademy. If anything, they're definitely functioning much more as one unit as opposed to FIT. Definitely FIT though, showing signs of team play, but not as strong as iAcademies. If you're going to notice, everybody doing their job, what they should be doing in order to achieve win conditions, but oh no.
Has the score done. Right here comes 2-man knockup. Then immediately goes for the flank. Immediately goes to the ADC. but gets denied by the Janna. Now will be the re-engage from Game Changers. The counterattack starts now. That will be an isolation onto D. Immediately gets shocked down by Heal and leaving behind Ashira to no one to tank for. He just gets shredded by I Academy.
Oh man, and that's gonna be I Academy will get a Baron out of this. I highly doubt Mint can go for the steal at this point. There's definitely a lot of elements that could just easily stop him. Looks like we will have to just give it up for now. And this is going to be huge for I Academy at this point. And this is what I've been saying. It doesn't matter how much of the tanky front line you have from FIT. If you're not in a position where you can deal with the damage, then it's pretty much moot. Let's go ahead and check out the replay though. So Call of the Forge God connecting onto two of the more tankier members of I Academy. Not necessarily the best targets you want to go for, in which case, if anything, you want to try to go for Buggy Van, you want to try to go for Sinigang, but no, they were just able to free it from the backline. Ashera, the only one trying to proactively pursue them in the prolonged fight, and that's where disaster just hit for FIT right there. That's the tricky part of this competition. They have to go one time big time with their initiate, or if it doesn't work out for them from that one time big time, then I Academy could just easily turn things around if ever they can't get FIT in a position wherein I Academy has lower health. So I Academy, I wouldn't be surprised. This is a great momentum for them.
And especially the way that the Janna used the Monsoon to just fling away the LeBlanc set. So without any burst to Buggy Van, he was able to fully channel the bullet time. So while he's channeling the bullet time, just one Monsoon buying enough time for the full channel. So for the Game Changers, they have the Baron buff in their hands. Let's see how they will play it into their favor, because the gold lead is now sitting almost to almost to 7,000, but right now it sits at a constant 6,300, 200 rather.
Meanwhile, Sawyer just again shoving out the top side, and it's interesting because doesn't really have to deal with Ashera as much anymore as far as him being a problem, because Sawyer definitely in a better position now, sitting in a 5-2-1, and is doing a great job at shoving out lanes, exerting pressure onto FIT, and further complemented by the fact that they do have Baron buff. Oh, set.
Grey Locker, that's how you want to do it, and that will be the shot down onto Buggy Man. Zayd immediately gets the assassination, and now without any more ADC, this could be FIT fighting back with Neil taking down Heal, getting the Runas, getting the Infinity Edge. This could be the chance that FIT was looking for. Two members were gone from that fight, so Game Changers, they overcommitted. That would be them depending so much on this Janna, but the Janna was in the Riverside warning, and now, with that, Zayd does not see that coming. The Zonias from the Morgana will be the killing blow.
Okay, that was just really weird for Academy. And that's what I've been saying. Without the Janna, it makes them easier targets for them to be collapsed on by FIT. They need that Janna to disengage whatever engage potential FIT has, but still doesn't necessarily deter I Academy from their overall cause. They were able to get a shove in from Sawyer towards the top side, not to mention Import as well, just taking full advantage of this Baron buff, and there we go. That's going to be Import.
Black pretty much goner right here, because he won't make it out alive just yet, but there's the redemption and the flash for the save. Here comes Neil, and the stun connects on the Import, but he does have the Black Shield on, so that will be the flash burn by Import, followed by the redemption for the heal.
Not to mention a great Dark Binding to make sure that Neil couldn't further pursue Import, in which case, and that just makes a clean escape for Import. And again, cherry on top right there, I Academy gets yet another dragon, all three dragons into their pocket.
This is going to be a huge deal, because once the Game Changers open up the Elder, that's going to be a lot of pain, lots of damage. So let's see how FIT will try and face off, because as of now, they're not that far behind because they're trying their best to catch up. But for the Game Changers, they are having a difficulty in closing this game because of this Ornn, the Sejuani, and not to mention Seth. They have to move as a unit because they need to rely on this Janna for the denial from Seth.
Oh man, this is just such a shame coming in from FIT after having come off such a great week during week 3. I mean, fortunately had to default their first one, and going into the second one, losing out on a little bit of their flavor, a little bit of that synergy that they had during week 3, which I've been complimenting them on actually, in fact, during that previous week, wherein it was just a different FIT that we were seeing. But heading back here into week 4, from how they've been playing it, This is almost reminiscent of the same FIT that we've been seeing during both week 1 and week 2. And it's unfortunate because this following week, week 4, could have been a great slow build-up for them as the dark horse of the LVL. But overall, you got to give commendations to iAcademy. They've been playing this beautifully thus far. They definitely have great control. If you're going to look at it across the board, looking good for them as well in terms of coverage. Looks like they are going to make the proactive move towards this bot lane, though.
So let's go for Mint, though. He was face checked to almost 3 members, but as of now, Game Changers, they're stalling. But for FIT, that's going to be their advantage. They want the games to be stalled so that they can catch up. And as of now, Neil is actually a threat in this point of the game. Gets the rapid fire cannon, the Lunan Hurricane. Stealth pulled up. There might be an engage. The Forge Gun and the Collision Prison is available. Here it comes. Double combo whammy. Goes on to Jana. He will be surviving. Sinigan goes immediately on the monster. But Neil is there for the shred. That's what I was waiting for. Neil's time to shine. But when you're talking about Morgana with that binding, you're not going to go anywhere. And this is going to be Game Changers fighting back, immediately denying the first advantage that FIT had. And now they will just completely shut it down.
Oh man, this is just so awkward for FIT, and this is going to be the game. Those are heavy death timers across the board. FIT, a little bit of mispositioning by Neil there in the midst of that clash, but then again, if you're going to consider the overall lead that iAcademy has, it was just bound to happen. So ladies and gentlemen, looks like we have a winner going 2-0 in this matchup. Congratulations to the iAcademy Game Changers, truly changing the flow of this game in their favor.
There you have it. This concludes the first match of the LVL. So what a game it was. Great play, great strategy by the Game Changers. Unfortunately for FIT, they had a strong week previously, but now they will be giving away 2-0 towards iAcademy.
It's just such a shame. But of course, a quick recap to what went down. Again, overall, I definitely say iAcademy played their composition a bit more cleaner. There was that awkward moment in the mid lane wherein both Hyo as well as Buggy Van get caught out because Sinigang was a little bit extended towards wanting to establish vision before they get a push in. But overall, I mean, didn't deter them from their overall lead. Was definitely much more smoother for them, and I definitely like the progress I'm seeing from iAcademy overall. I mean, sure, it's a bit trickier for them to qualify for top 3, but what matters to me most, especially when you're in these type of leagues, is not just making top 3, but just progression in general. And I think through their coach specs, they were able to achieve that.
And this is the first LVL ever in the history of Varsity League. So let's see, maybe next time
yeah, definitely
they can grow further, because this is going to be a growing environment for them. And especially for FIT, they have to try and learn from their mistakes. So that concludes match 1. We will be going on to a short break, but before anything else, we have been the Shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan. With me was Arctic. See you after the short break for match 2. Drake here. Here comes the steal, gets denied by the Game Changer. Here comes the dazzle from the skies. No invulnerable just yet, but Neil gets the kill on the import. Next would be Hyo. Vince gets the kill instead. First Buggy Van. The Glacier Prisoner will miss. There's Monsoon for the heal. There's the attempt cancel from Neil, but it'll be failing. Sawyer's here, gets the kill, gets the lockdown for that double kill.
Yeah, so looks like this might be more casualties though.
Can they get away though? Down the other, here comes 2-man knockup. Then immediately goes for the flank. Immediately goes to the ADC, but gets denied by the Jana. Now will be the re-engage from Game Changers. The counterattack starts now. That will be an isolation onto D. Immediately gets struck down by Hyo, and leaving behind Ashira to know what to tank for. He just gets shredded by iAcademy. Double combo whammy, goes on to Jana. He will be surviving. Sinigan goes immediately on the monster, but Neil is there for the shred. That's what I was waiting for. Neil's time to shine, but when you're talking about Morgana with that binding, you're not going to go anywhere, and this is going to be Game Changers fighting back, immediately denying the first advantage that FIT had, and now they will just completely shut it down.
Oh man, this is just so awkward for FIT, and this is gonna like we have a winner going 2-0 in this matchup. Congratulations to the I Academy Game Changers, truly changing the flow of this game in their favor.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.